All right, we're back. Mitra, could you continue to talk about the all-time Celtics?
Yeah, so like that Celtics team, and yeah, you gotta admit like Jordan. That was when he was really young. I think he was he was rookie, and then it was his second year as well. And I mean, I guess if you're comparing that to when LeBron is older and he's carrying a Cavs team, and it's a weak conference too. I think that conference was
Oh yeah.
definitely weaker
Oh
than
yeah,
what Jordan had to go through.
like for sure. But you also have to remember the fact that like that is the greatest Celtics year that they've ever had. And then they
Mhm.
dropped off like immediately after that. Like they
Yeah,
more finals and then they were done. Like that was their peak year, and he did that. That's the same thing with the Warriors. This is their peak year that he dropped 51 on them. Like LeBron dropped 51 on the Warriors is like that. Maybe not as impressive.
16-17 was their peak year.
Yeah, no, 17-18 because that was the year that they lost one game. Like, come on now. And no, wait, no.
No,
17-18
17-18 was
because they
when
beat
they
the
were
Rockets.
stumbling against the Rockets.
That was
Yeah.
because I think that was their more impressive ring, if that makes sense. I think
yeah,
16 was the most dominant, but 17-18
Yeah.
was their most impressive.
because they,
That was the one
they beat
you
they
know?
beat one of the best offense in Houston. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
Just
think we
over
can
there.
all agree that
Barely,
they do that.
barely.
They
They
barely.
just
I don't think.
barely.
I don't know if they would do that with Chris Paul. I mean, there's always hypotheticals, just as we hypothesize about the Warriors. But like,
Don't remind me.
I think the 3-6
that was so
no.
brutal.
The 3-6 versus the 6-0 is such an issue for me because of the fact that there was never a finals where you could say Jordan was meant to lose. Like,
But let's
LeBron
not
was
do that.
never
Let's
gonna
not compare championships because that's not really correct.
And we'll also
compare
the
plays,
fact that, like there's been multiple instances where LeBron has literally been the offense where he's the guy and he's dragging like 07 Cavs. Can you see that the 07 Cavs make it to the finals? They have to go through the Pistons and the Miami Heat. Okay, or wait, was it the Heat or the Hawks that were like 60 wins or something like that? Like that Hawks team with Joe Johnson, ISO Joe, Baby Al Horford, that's just like his youngest ever year. Josh Smith had just won the dunk. Like that was a squad. And then the Magic were on to come up. That's not like a strong.
How are you gonna name that a squad, but not name what Jordan faced up against really much of a squad?
No, obviously, dude. I just said the Celtics was the best ever. That was the best ever year that they had. I think that team would have probably beaten 87.
No, but I'm talking about teams that Jordan won championships against.
No, but are we all in the Spurs in 07, or was it 07? Yeah, 07 Spurs, the 13 Spurs, the 15 Warriors, and the 17 Warriors, the 18 Warriors. Like they're all-time teams. Like same with the Jazz, the Trailblazers. But are the Trailblazers really stepping up to beat both of the Spurs teams? A team that's well coached, well fundamentals, very top to bottom depth wise. One of the greatest teams that we've ever seen for both of them. Plus, they have a young Kawhi Leonard that could, maybe not stop Drexler because Drexler is, in the words of Game of Zones, what is he like? He's a worse Jordan. That's basically Drexler in a nutshell. You know what I mean?
The worser version of Jordan.
Yeah, but Jordan took that personally, and I mean, Drexler still had his way, but he's still the same team. Jordan still obviously outplayed him. And then the Suns. Are you really backing the Suns to beat the Warriors or the Spurs?
No, but that's where I feel like you're kind of losing much of the argument is that you have to just
hold on. Jordan, these are the best Bulls. These are some of the best teams ever. The Bulls, any version of the Bulls can be viewed as the best team ever, realistically.
Hold on, let me speak. But that's where I feel like you're losing kind of the argument is that you have to discredit most of the teams that Jordan won and went up against just to prove that, LeBron went up against so much competition that he eventually lost to.
It's not the fact that
I can't really I can't really parse that or really give you that kind of leverage to pull up your argument when you're kind of discrediting the wins that Jordan had. That just doesn't really make sense. Jordan went up against a bad boys Bull teams that literally made their own defense just so they could stop him, which is just beating the shit out of them. And
the Pistons,
he had to go up against. I know Magic wasn't the same as he once was, but still, he was still Magic. Are you still considering Magic the number one point guard of all time?
No, Nick, let me tell you. Wait.
No, hold on. I just want to ask one question. That's all.
Yeah.
Are you guys considering Magic the number one point guard of all time?
At that moment, I don't remember who. I think Isaiah.
No,
Had
no, but like
that
just
moment. But, like,
just
yeah,
all in general.
in general, yes, yeah, in general,
Yeah.
It just goes to show that he went up against a once in a lifetime type of talent in Magic Johnson.
But like,
What
at the
about
same
Karl
time-
Malone? Hold on, Karl Malone. Who is the second leading scorer of points of all time?
Karl Malone, the
Karl
mailman.
Malone. He went up against him, but he made him not win a championship. All right, I'll give you the one person I feel like, they can shit on and say like he wasn't the best at, winning of anything, and that's Charles Barkley.
What
And,
about Gary Payton and Sean
that,
Kemp?
huh?
What about Gary Payton and Sean Kemp? Like, it's
Gary
not the
Payton
fact.
won his piece, and Gary Payton was a defensive player of the year. Sean Kemp, before he dived into drugs, he was his own version of Lamar Odom. Just
Like,
he was a Zion Williamson of his own time. I just feel like people are discrediting
It's
like
not
too
the
much
fact
of
that-
Jordan's wins.
like, I know that all those teams are all-time great teams, but you have to remember who LeBron has against these teams. Like, obviously, like, I would still back the Warriors and Spurs against all of them, but like, they'd still hold their own. Like, I'm not saying that they'd sweep them every time, but it's like, like, LeBron's with his teams, you have to take into consideration that he got to the finals with those teams and he was against those teams. Like, he was never meant to win those. The only one that you can argue that he should have been, like, he should 100% have won was the 2011 Mavs. Like, they had no business losing to the Mavs. Like, that's the only one where you can fully discredit LeBron.
And Dirk won.
But if you're gonna hold on, if you're gonna use that argument, saying that LeBron didn't really have the transcendent teammates that he could have pulled up against the opponents that he went up against, how come you couldn't use that How come you use that argument against Jordan whenever we're using that debate of comparing the Warriors and Jordan? You're pulling down his teammates, but at the same time, you're putting down LeBron's teammates as well.
I mean, every one of Jordan's teammates helped him. Like, I don't think he will be the first to say every one of his.
Then why not use that argument for the Warriors?
But, like, at the same time, at the same time, look, like, Jordan had the best. Well, okay, for him, the best running mate that you could possibly say that he could have. Like, obviously, they're like, all he kind of do is like Kobe, Shaq. Jordan Pippen's up there, like LeBron, Kyrie is up there. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, he never had the team where he was destined to lose in the finals. Like, once he got to the finals over the Bad Boy Pistons, he was always going to win. Like, there was no one that could stop him anymore. Like,
hold
then why not use that against your Warriors argument?
But at the same time, no, I mean, like, in the finals, once he got to that point, like, once he was in the playoffs in those rounds, he had finally gotten there. He was finally the alpha dog. Like Larry and Magic, like, whenever they were in the mid 80s, like, everyone knew that those two teams were going to face each other, regardless of who was in them. Like, unless it was like the Rockets who played spoiler with Baby Hicks.
But the thing is, it's just Michael was never defeated once he got into the finals. Once he was that top dog, he was that top dog. LeBron, it was not really the same story.
If you were to replace LeBron James with Michael Jordan, do you think that Michael Jordan would somehow manage to take Deion Jones, Larry Hughes, Ilgauskas, George Hill, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love is good, Tristan Thompson's good, they're both can be double machines, but it's not like they're not finals level teammates, like Stockton him alone, finals level. Charles Barkley clearly in that year was at finals level, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, as you mentioned, like, finals level.
Jordan would take him further.
No, he wouldn't. He would not win.
Yes, he would.
That's
the thing. You have to discredit.
You really?
But I mean, to be honest, they're different players. They're way different players. Jordan didn't take as many threes as much as
young LeBron and young LeBron and middle Jordan. I think that's pretty similar in terms of style. Both are same dunkers, and staying in the paint.
Because young LeBron was nowhere near for what middle Jordan was.
Young LeBron is equal to him athleticism. That's like under
athleticism, yes, but are we gonna account for everything else that was in for? That's like saying like Russell Westbrook is the same thing as Michael Jordan because they both had the same amount of athleticism.
I mean, but like
when
they have the same style,
they
make everyone around them better. Like that's the sign of a truly great player to make everyone around them better. That's why, in my opinion, the best all-time five would be Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, LeBron, Larry, and Hakeem. Because every one of them made their players better than them. But like,
let's just both agree on this. Michael Jordan and LeBron James are once in a lifetime players. They're definitely top three in their own ways.
I think that I remember I got this argument. I had the perfect counter to it. Someone asked me who's better. Oh wait, what? Someone asked me who's better, Larry or Michael, or Larry or LeBron James, and my response was, who's considered to be in the GOAT argument, Larry or LeBron James? LeBron. Like that's just your answer. You know, like as Larry is an all-time player, probably one of the best passes I've ever seen. Like if you guys haven't treated yourself to Larry Bird highlights, yeah, like if you haven't treated yourself to Larry Bird highlights, just watch it. It's just funny as hell. He'll trash talk after he does like a pass behind his back. Like I think he's one of the best. But like I think that LeBron to take the Cavs team, considering what they had and what they had, like yes, the East was obviously way worse than what it was in the 80s. Like that's not. I'm not saying that it wasn't. Like come on, like they had the 76ers, like the end of the 76ers, and then they had the Bucks with Sidney Moncrief, and then they had help me with the Celtics. Like obviously that's better, but you have to remember that George Hill is like a lot worse. Like that's like the worst final starting point guard I've ever seen. Like there's so many better point guards.
Eric Snow.
Exactly. LeBron had both. LeBron got
Allen Iverson had them.
Like it's not like people say the 01 76ers are the worst. No, they still had a 6th man of the year, a defensive player of the year, a coach of the year, and then.
But that wasn't enough, man. That wasn't not enough against the Lakers.
They were obviously going to lose to the Lakers every day of the week. Like to get one game was probably the most impressive feat I've ever seen one player do. Honestly, like I think that's probably the most impressive one.
But even at that, there was a lot of plays that they were just rolling up and getting every player involved with. And at that, Allen Iverson was not.
Can you really say that, like, Jordan had issues with the bad boy Pistons, right? And he always had issues until Scotty took that next step to where he could finally have that second option. Like, he had George Gervin in his younger ages, but George Gervin was George Gervin. Like, he's not Jordan. Like, come on now. He's not like a Jordan level.
George Gervin was retired by then.
No, in 86. I'm talking 86. Like, George Gervin is like to Michael Jordan what Kevin Love is to LeBron. Like, he was a good teammate.
No. That's really disrespectful to Kevin Love.
Mm-hmm.
You think he's better than George Gervin? No, George Gervin was still – dude, you forget like 2 years earlier, George Gervin had MVP.
Hey, but you're forgetting about Minnesota Kevin Love, though.
No, it wasn't Minnesota. This is Cleveland Kevin Love. This is the one that's sitting there for the 3 points.
You can't compare George Gervin to what Kevin Love was when he was only with LeBron. No, that's very disrespectful. I don't think that it was that kind of level of.
But it's the same type. It's the same. The point is, it's the same type. Like it's one thing to say like LeBron taking Larry Hughes and Nowitzki. It's like yes, at those times they were all stars, but like come on, bro. Like there was no reason that team should get to the finals other than LeBron. As was like the same with the Bulls. Like he went through the Pistons for Christ's sake. The Pistons and the Wizards with Gilbert Arenas. He went to two teams that at the time were favorites to get to the conference finals.
Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins.
Obviously, that team, the 86. I'm not discrediting Jordan. 63 against Celtics. That's probably the most impressive road performance other than AI. I still put AI's over his. But like considering the fact that Jordan, whenever he never felt like he was gonna lose. Like there was only one time and it was 98 where you like, oh crap, can he lose this? Because it was the last run, it was the last everything. It's like everything's online. But then you knew once it was close and Jordan got that ball in the final 20 seconds, you knew it was done for.
I feel like the thing where like a lot of LeBron people like put in and start discrediting Jordan is saying like, well, did he go to a 70-win team? Well, Jordan was a 70-win team. He was just that type of guy.
Hey, speaking of which, you know how Golden State also won 70 wins too, right?
Yeah.
And the Bulls 95-96 won 70 wins too. But the Bulls won the championship with that 70-win team.
I mean, LeBron beat the 70-win team. Just saying.
Yeah, true. LeBron was just a whole different story that year.
I think
that's one thing I can say.
Mentality, bro.
LeBron was better than Jordan at. It's just that like the fact that he would not stop. He just would not want to lose in any type of matchup against the Warriors.
I think
the fact that he came back 3-1.
Yeah,
That's the Mamba mentality. That's another.
No, that's where you can put him up over Jordan.
Yeah.
That's the one thing where I can say, yeah, LeBron was better than
There's
Jordan at that
there's
moment.
3 instances where you can say LeBron was better than Jordan. Game 6 against the Celtics. I think that's a fair assumption. 2013 LeBron, which I think I will say that is the best,
He was unfair
non-center.
that year.
That's the best non-center I've ever seen, other than maybe Curry from 16. Like that's the most dominant I've ever seen anyone ever be. Because this is LeBron with a 3-point jumper. This is probably GOAT LeBron, honestly. Like genuine. Like this is the level of a GOAT. And then 2016 LeBron was probably, even though he wasn't as like dominant in as he was in 2013, this is probably his best year because this is the year where he finally got that leadership ability. He was finally, like the guy that can, mentally take them over the top. It's like there's the stuff that I remember Pat Riley said that to beat Larry Bird, you have to beat him mentally first. This is the year that LeBron had that mentality that he knew he was the best player every game in that series, and he tried to show it as much as he could throughout that series. I think that was to lead the team in the way that he did. I think that was probably the best, 3 stretch ever.
Can we talk about NBA awards as well?
You mean like?
Yo, no.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I got nothing better to do.
Because Ja Morant just won Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So can we? Yeah, let's talk about that. Do you guys think Zion should have gotten it?
I think no, he shouldn't have.
No.
Gotten, I think he should have gotten more first place votes, or not first place votes, but like more acknowledgement. Like
no, one's good enough.
Ja was obviously Rookie of the Year, but like honestly, Zion, like if he played the whole season, he would have gotten it, especially the way he played. Like he lived up.
He played the whole season.
I think that's only one first place vote is kind of stupid, but kind of realistic at the same time, if that makes sense. Like obviously, it's like Joel Embiid in 2017. Like obviously, Malcolm Brogdon got it because he played more, but Joel Embiid got a lot of first place votes because he was way better than Brogdon was. Like that's
Here's the thing, though.
That's the same time. That's the same level because, like, yeah, Zion didn't play that much. He played like 25 games. But he was everything everyone expected him to be in that 20 to 25 games. Like, people roasted him.
But when it comes to a better player, it's Zion.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Zion.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. I'm going to say something. Like, yeah, I could probably see Zion's probably a better player if he played the whole season, yeah. But, like, I don't think even if he was, like, healthy, like, the problem is he needs to get in shape, man. He needs to get in shape, bro. He's like
too much Popeyes.
Yeah, bro. And no, because
from being a center.
No, but what's funny was before the bubble, there was like a picture that came out where he was like muscular and all that, and then we got to the ball and he was still looked the same. Like what the hell?
No, the funniest
like
thing about
what
Zion
do you do? No, what did you do from that picture when that picture was taken and then to the bubble? Like, what did he do in between?
I mean, we asked that about Jamal Murray, though. Look what he did.
About Zion. No, the funniest thing about Zion, like, just being himself is that whenever someone commented and said, like, Zion walking around looks like a man with a pocket full of quarters. Like, it's just so funny, man.
No, but I mean, I think like also with the Pelicans, like in the bubble, man, NBA tried so hard to get them into the playoffs, but they failed.
With Adam Silver was on suicide watch,
Well, honestly, I think the Suns should have gotten over the. I don't care about
Oh, definitely,
the
definitely.
Way they played, who they beat and the way they played. Yeah, you can say that it's hard, but like
just to get swept by the Lakers.
But you know what? That just shows they have a good future now. They're gonna be insane next year.
They're building something.
They got a good coach.
But like defensive player of the year, though. All right.
Giannis,
Giannis did deserve it, but like even though he played garbage, he did deserve it.
Yeah, he desered it. I mean, we're talking about regular season, so yeah.
We're talking regular season, not playoffs. Like playoffs now, give me Jimmy and Kawhi.
But let's talk. But like Anthony Davis, come on, man.
He should have been. Anthony Davis deserved the first place votes he got. I think it should have just been those two. I don't know why the hell someone put Hassan Whiteside and like Patrick Beverly.
Rudy Gobert is in it too, though. Top 3.
Yeah,
Rudy probably has the most worthless defensive player of the years.
Like honestly, like no one.
How are you gonna be a defensive player, the 2-time defensive player of the year, and get fucking taken up by Jokic?
Hey, there
No,
no,
he's
but
probably the
there were a
worst
couple.
defender.
Hey, but there were a couple of games in against the Nuggets where he stepped up offensively. It's
I mean,
pretty good.
honestly,
Pretty
I
good.
think Rudy Gobert should have been Defensive Player of the Year. He shut down the league for 3 months.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
so true.
It's
Like,
true.
he legit shut down the league for like 4 or 5 months. Like, what else do you
Hey,
want?
but I want to talk about Sixth Man of the Year because I don't agree with it.
I think it should have been Lou Williams.
Oh my gosh.
I disagree with it. I don't like it.
Who do you think should
Norman
have
Norman
Dennis Schroeder.
Powell. Norman
No,
Powell.
Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder.
been?
Man.
Schroeder or Lou Williams? Lou Williams
Schroeder.
for memes, but Schroeder definitely played them though.
Cause here's the thing. Here's the thing. Lou Williams having a great playoff series right now. Definitely. Season wise, I think last year and 2 years ago were better seasons than this year.
Even though
But
technically he started for the Clippers, he still won the Sixth Man of the Year. Like,
yeah.
it was weird.
But
I don't get it.
Dennis Schroeder though. I mean,
Damn
dude,
my Hawks for letting him go, bro. Damn it.
Dude,
Let him go.
dude was lighting up. Like he was doing well against Houston too, man. In a couple of games, he did really well.
He really tried his best.
All right, so who's
Yeah,
your
and-
MVP though? For the regular season?
MVP.
Yeah. Do playoff MVP right now and then MVP for the regular season.
I really
Okay,
don't
regular
agree.
season MVP, Giannis, man.
I would say Giannis. LeBron made a push at the end whenever like the season was starting to like come.
Bro,
And-
LeBron.
But like it's gotta be Giannis. Yeah.
Hey, dude, freaking! I don't like when people like pick LeBron, and there are people who say, "Oh, LeBron," because he's 35 years old and he's doing all crazy things, man. Like age doesn't matter when it comes to MVP, bro. Age shouldn't matter. But there are people out there who make an argument that LeBron should be MVP because he's 35 and doing all this stuff. I mean, come on, man.
Here, okay. The reason I'm picking LeBron as my MVP is because what he did to try send the Lakers into becoming the number one offense and leading them in the assist and basically turning them into, let's be honest, if LeBron was not on that Lakers squad and they just had AD, would you consider them a title contender?
No. Obviously.
Nah.
Same with
Or-
you.
That's what they were last year.
Playoff.
Last year was LeBron, just LeBron.
Yeah, like LeBron literally makes the Lakers. I feel like the reason why we should push for LeBron is not just because the narrative that he's 35 years old, but the fact that, you know, he's doing this while basically changing